Participating sponsors. The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Now you official now, but you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that note. I'm about to drop in the field. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, you got to lock in once again to StraightWords, the radio program being brought to you by Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, and also Brother B.J. Murphy. We are here from 9 p.m. until midnight right here on WVON, the talk of Chicago, the iconic talk radio station of America. And brothers and sisters, you always can call in, line up, because we got a lot to talk about today. 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690. Brother Nabra, Brother James G. Assalamu alaikum, big brothers. How y'all feeling tonight?
Wa alaikum salam,
salam.
sirs. Wa alaikum salam, sirs.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Flight time, y'all. It's flight time.
Yes,
Flight time. We taking off.
Yes, sir.
Taking off to the heavens. Yes, sir. How's everybody feeling? You feeling good?
I'm feeling great now that the ice is melted.
Oh, man, yeah, I saw it, Brother James, when I came out the house, man. I was expecting, like, ice everywhere, but it was gone.
Man, you can't. Yeah, you couldn't run out the house on yesterday, though, boy. You slipped as soon as you stepped out.
Man, that's for sure. That's
for real.
Yes, sir. Hey, before we start the show, I know we got to give a shout-out to our companion, Brother Haroon.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And, he had to go to the hospital, was feeling under the weather, and the same thing that y'all been talking to me about.
Really? The same
Same
thing?
thing y'all been talking to same thing y'all been talking to me about. I made a Brother James G, me and Brother Richard was talking before, about an hour before the show, and he was pleading with me again, brother, to make this appointment with the doctor, and I am going to do that tomorrow. Me and my wife, that's going to be a project tomorrow, and I will report to both of you, word is bond, that I will have an appointment set.
No,
I know I said
don't
that.
Say that. Don't say that, bro.
You said that you heard that song before, Brother James?
That,
I know.
No, don't do that.
But, hey, listen, but I'm going to tell you.
Just stop. Just say you're going to try to make it, and inshallah, you'll have a report the next week.
Inshallah.
And that you apologize for the promise you made about 5 months ago.
Yeah, I apologize. I do apologize for that. It caused me a lot of anxiety because I know I didn't follow through with my word. As Muslims, a word is bond.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I did
bond.
my word bond. But
That's
when I was talking to Brother Haroon last night, we talked last night for about 40 minutes, man. He was telling me everything that happened to him.
Yeah.
It was symptoms that he was coming down with. He was doing some work with Brother Lionel, and he just felt like he couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And, he's a very active 72-year-old brother.
Yeah.
And that was just so shocking to hear what happened to him.
Yeah, well, I know the feeling. I mean, I was probably when I was at that radio station, and I got sick in the station, and when I left, I couldn't. I left early, and y'all continued the show, but I didn't make it halfway down the street before I had to call my son to come pick me up, and then I ended up in the hospital for 3 days, man. And I consider myself, and I go for regular checkups, so yes, you just gotta be conscious of what's happening with your body, man.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, it's because y'all know I've been dealing with health stuff.
Oh yeah.
Intensely for the last year and a half. So, it's just very important, brothers and sisters, to take care of yourself. You want to. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the minister told us, said he was like a traffic cop, stopping people from rushing to the grave.
Yeah.
So that means that, in particular, when we are given the supreme wisdom, we are now responsible. And we got to act, man, to we lost Dexter King, 62 years old. prostate
Yeah.
cancer. How does that happen?
Yeah, and he was a vegetarian, from what I understand.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
and we think that's the best diet, which it is.
Yeah.
But there's so many things going on, you know, in this world. You know, the food ain't really what it's supposed to be, and you know, so many diseases that's going around. You can fall ill just about at any time. So you just gotta really be careful. Get on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The best thing is that 1 meal a day. And make that bean soup part of the staple of your diet, too.
Man, I had some today, thanks to the foodie spot and Sister Carmela Muhammad. So we shouting them out. Foodie spot, 7350 South Stony Island Avenue. Go on by, man. Get yourself some good food, you know?
Yes, sir.
Go on by and do that.
Yes, sir.
So we got a few things we want to get started. We're going to have Sister Midian Holmes in at about 9:30. She's going to update us on our continued quest to get a measure of justice for Elijah McClain. She's at 9:30.
Yeah.
But I wanted to you know, we got Brother Lionel in the studio, and we got our other brother here hanging out with us. You know, this is the FOI. This is how we roll. Brother Robert is in here with us. You know what I mean?
Robert, okay.
Go ahead.
But Brother
Is the
Lionel.
Facebook up, Brother Naba?
Huh?
Is the
Yeah, it's
Facebook
up
rolling?
now. It's up now. It's live now. I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah. But Brother Lionel, get on the mic, my brother.
Is that prison ministry guy?
Yeah, man. That's the man that serves.
That's a bad
Say
man.
it again, Brother Lionel. I want to see if we can hear you. Y'all hear him?
No.
No,
we can't hear him.
Your mic ain't live. Your mic ain't sounding nice.
Tell DeMonte X to get that boy up on live.
Okay, we gonna
Assalamu
be.
alaikum. Can you hear me?
Legacy alive. Yes, sir.
Yeah. His mic sound nice now. You
That's
know
what
I
I'm
mean?
talking about.
Yeah.
So, Brother Lionel, they'll talk about the event that your organization was involved in. First start, of course, with the name of your organization. Talk about the beautiful event y'all had this past weekend.
Oh, yes, it was a beautiful event that we did on behalf of the community. But as everybody know, I work with TRS, Transforming Reentry Service, Men and Women in Prison Ministry. And what we did was we gave out 250 coats. We gave out 150 sweaters with hoods. We gave out 1,000 pairs of socks to the community. And we gave them other clothes and things that we had to give away. T-shirts. We gave away probably 60, 70 T-shirts. But we had a whole lot of stuff to give away to the community. And the reason for doing it is because this is a way of giving back.
Yeah.
And TRS was in conjunction with the FOI. The FOI was a part of helping us distribute that material to the community. And it was a tremendously wonderful event. Brother Harun was taking some beautiful pictures, and all of a sudden he got sick. But overall, it was an outstanding event. I got a lot out of it. It's always something important when you're giving back to the community, because if it's not us trying to save us, nobody else is going to come in our community and do what needs to be done but us.
That's right. Go ahead.
So, Brother Lionel, thank you. But tell us now, how can we get in touch with you, or how can we support your work? How can we support that organization?
You can support that organization. Matter of fact, go online to TRS. That's TRS, Transforming Reentry Service, Men and Women in Prison Ministry. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on social media. And our address is 10 West 35th Street. That's 10 West 35th Street.
TRS.com or .org or what?
No, just go to TRS, Transforming Reentry Service. Just put in Transforming Reentry Service and it'll pop up.
All right. Thank you, Brother Lionel. So where are we at now? You know, brothers, look, we got a few minutes. A couple things, man. I don't know if you all saw our sister Angela Rye.
Yes.
Last couple of weeks, you know, she got a new podcast. Her what's the sister? Tiffany, what's Tiffany's last name? Tiffany
Tiffany
Cross. Tiffany Cross.
Yeah.
And Andrew Gillum, they got a new podcast. But she talked
Yeah.
about, brothers and sisters, how she felt violated by Chris Cuomo when he was and she was at CNN. She posted a picture to her Instagram or whatever in a bathing suit, and I guess it was kind of metallic. And he called her, He called her about something, but then referred to her as like tinsel crotch or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Do we have that audio or no?
Yeah, Deontay has that.
Because it's something to hear her. You know, it's really something, brothers and sisters, that,
Yeah.
you know, because she was so afraid that she couldn't even defend herself against this man and his evil, disrespectful words to her. And this is not 1952, man.
Right.
It's 2023,
Right.
2022, I mean, it's amazing to me that so when Brother Deontay, you can hit it if it's ready. It's only a minute, brothers and sisters, but I want you to listen to this, okay? I want you to listen carefully. This is Angela Rye.
I felt like the safest place I had on a show on CNN had been compromised. I ignored it, just hoping it would go away, or even more. Did I imagine this? But I didn't. A few hours later, he said hello. I didn't respond for 2 more days, despite his plea the next day to call because he wanted to discuss work. I tried to punt until after the Georgia runoffs, asking a week later if he still wanted to discuss his work idea, despite him mentioning tinsel bikini and tinsel bottom along the way. As I think about this, it feels so small compared to what other women in the workplace experience. But I was afraid to speak up. Between New Year's and my follow-up, an insurrection happened on Capitol Hill where I feared I would lose loved ones. I felt like if I called him out, I was risking everything I was finally starting to build with the network. And as someone who is known for being courageous, I cannot begin to tell you how much I felt like, even now, feel like a coward.
Now, brothers and sisters, look, man. This is a sister, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it's like to feel accosted in that way. But what I do know is this. If she was talking about Chris Cuomo, who was at CNN at the time, she was a contributor. He was a big guy, was on show and all of that, right?
Yeah.
He insults her, right?
Yeah.
And she's afraid to tell him, you out of pocket. So I'm going to say this, brothers and sisters, 2 things. 1, if she was afraid to say to Chris Cuomo that you're out of pocket, there was a bigger problem than Chris Cuomo. Because Chris Cuomo got a boss. So obviously the boss, the colleagues, and everybody there, she didn't feel protected by them. Right? But I'm going to say this, brothers and sisters, and I don't mean to be critical of my sister. But, see, we see these people in the house, and we think they're doing okay, brother, but they in hell. They're not in heaven.
That's right.
They're suffering to get some benefit from an enemy, man.
Right.
Well, Brother Naba'a, what you know about that? This what I know about that. Let me tell you something, man. I was fresh out of college, working I just came into the nation not that long ago. And I was working in a federal agency in public affairs, right? Beautiful sister, tall, statuesque, told me one day that this wrinkly, crinkly, dandruff-laden Caucasian man that worked in the office told her that he would pay to have sex with her. You hear me? Told her to her face, right? But the sad thing was, the message was carried to her by a black man that worked in the damn office. So she told me, and you know after she told me, you know the first thing she said, right? Don't do nothing, don't say nothing. I said, okay, all right, I got. Every time he came in that office, brother, All I did was just stand behind her desk and look at him
sir.
like, devil, I'll take your head today.
Go ahead.
Today, man. She comes into my office one day. She says, excitedly, what did you say to him? He doesn't bother me anymore. Right? I said something without saying nothing, man.
Right.
And we as black men got to take the position we are going to protect our women, man.
Come on now.
We
Right.
can't victimize them and as others victimize them. And lastly, the last nonprofit I got kicked out of, praise be to Allah. They moved against the sister that was the assistant executive director. My wife at the time was 8 or 9 months pregnant, man. But what they did to the sister was absolutely wrong. White folks, you know, they just want to be white. And they did not want to submit to a talented black woman. You hear me? She had more
Right.
talent, more experience than everybody in there. And put the organization, it used to be called the National Training and Information Center right here in Chicago. I think it's called National People's Action now. And if you got a question, call me. And I deal
Right.
with you. I know you changed now, right? Yeah, right. But I didn't care nothing about that, man. So they got rid of all the black folks over Martin Luther King Jr. weekend holiday.
Wow.
But what I said to myself was this. You may not have known what a black man looked like when I walked in the door,
Come
but you're
on.
going to know what he looked like when I walk out. It's
Come on.
that day. So let's go now to our sister Midian Holmes out of Colorado. She's going to give us an update on this case we've been following, on this campaign to get a measure of justice for our little brother killed in 2019, man, for no reason. Elijah McClain. Sister Midian, are you in?
I'm here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, brother. You always have so many compelling things that are going on and conversations that are being had. So thank you for allowing me to step back in and to be a part of this evening.
Oh, sister, thank you. Go right ahead. This is your time. Go right ahead.
Absolutely. So I come back to you all as a community to just offer you an update of what is happening in the city of Aurora, Colorado. There has been some shifts and changes to some of the people that are representing our law enforcement in that city. And we as a community are really identifying that this is directly related to the happenings that have gone on with Elijah McClain's murder. So the first thing that I want to say is that in former conversations, I reported out that Nathan Woodyard, who was the officer, the first officer on scene that put hands on Elijah McClain first, he was acquitted of charges of criminally negligent homicide and all of the assault charges that he was facing. So he was acquitted and went home free. And subsequent to that, the Aurora Police Department decided to reintegrate him into the police department. So he was reinstated as a police officer in the city of Aurora, and he was afforded $242,000 of back pay for the time that he was on suspension. So on January 8th, there was a city council meeting where the public showed up and showed out, and there was also a call-in campaign to the city manager that was overseeing the entire reintegration process. And because what we are finding is that because of that energy, we were able to get the news that Nathan Woodyard resigned from the Aurora Police Department. So as we all know, police unions are very prevalent and very damaging in all of our cities. And the police union was a big part of getting him reinstated. And so we are thinking, we haven't been able to confirm it and we're still working on it, but we are thinking that this was a forced resignation and that Nathan Woodyard, because of the community's outcry and the pleas, he was forced to resign. So he is no longer going to be serving as an Aurora police officer in the state of Colorado.
Wow.
There are some laws. Yes.
No, I was going to say, sister,
absolutely.
that's great news that this man will no longer be able to serve as a police officer in Aurora, Colorado. My quick question is, does that mean he will not be able to serve other places? Probably not, right? But at least we got him out of Aurora.
We did get him out of Aurora. Yeah, he wasn't convicted, so his suspension was overturned. However, in the state of Colorado, from the reckoning of 2020 that we all went through, there was a law that was passed that the record of a police officer now is open and available for other departments. So before 2020, officers, if they had a personnel matter, that was sealed and that was confined into the department that they worked for.
Right.
In the state of Colorado, that's now been released or modified to where his personnel record will follow him if he tries to go work for another precinct in another district. So while it will be the decision of those particular precincts, his record will be open and available for all to see. So if there's another precinct that picks up Nathan Woodyard as an officer, we do have a very large presence in just response to Elijah's murder. So my hope is that in Colorado, that will be a stigma that is a cloud over his head for the rest of his life, and that is his legacy. So my hope is that that is enough to ensure that he cannot practice law enforcement at all in the state of Colorado. But again, it's completely up to other precincts what they do. But it is public and it is available for those precincts to see as they evaluate him as an officer in their districts. So we're hopeful that this means that this is the end of his career as a law enforcement officer.
Very good.
So, yes, and that's not all. So only a couple of days later, maybe a week later, the chief of police in Aurora, Colorado, has officially resigned from his position. So Art Acevedo, who initially during the trial, he was very verbal in putting support behind the officers, and he was not a huge advocate for justice in this case. He has now resigned from his position. And again, we're trying to confirm because all these are the details that are in the dark, but we are thinking that it is by reason of Nathan Woodyard's resignation that the police union pressured him for him to resign. But he is no longer, as of Monday, he is no longer the chief of police. And he was also served by the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department because he has to go and give deposition for a botched raid that happened in Houston back in 2019 or 2016, I believe. There was a couple in Houston that was shot and killed during a botched raid, and he was the chief of police in Houston during that time. So he was served by the Arapahoe County Sheriff to go back to Houston and answer for his role and his duty or negligence thereof. Wow. So he does have to go back to Houston. Wow. And in the midst of this, when he resigned, there was a position. He was also a chief of police in Austin, Texas, and he was going to be provided an opportunity to go to Austin, Texas, to take on a role to oversee the Austin police. But that community pushed back, and because of that pressure, he is not taking that job. So at this time, there isn't really a very visible career path right now for Art Acevedo in matters of law enforcement, because where he had planned to go, the community said, absolutely not. We do not accept that. And it was because of how his leadership played out in Austin, Texas during his time then. So the community said no, so this man is not going to be joining their department.
Yeah. And that's the kind of action that hopefully will follow Mr. Woodyard, I would imagine, that these precincts will rise up and not allow him to come. But I'm wondering also, Sister, in the Houston piece, do you know if there was outrage against him that caused him to leave, and then the Aurora police picked him up in the midst of that outrage from Houston, or was it sometime later that he came there? Because it seems like they picked him up and without maybe looking into his past in that case.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Acevedo was the Houston Police Department chief from 2016 to 2021. As he resigned in January of 2024, as he resigned here, he hadn't even been with our city for more than 13 months. So it was very, very close in line with the time that he stopped serving in Houston to where he was picked up in Aurora. Yeah. And he came into Aurora as the interim. He never became the permanent. He only served as the interim chief. And I think that his plans were to go permanent because he had said that he had planned to be here 5 to 10 years. And so it sounds a lot like the police union put some pressure on him, this botched raid that he has to now go back and answer for. It just sounds to me as if his career is starting to catch up to him, and he doesn't have a clear career path for leadership or for serving in law enforcement at this time.
Yeah, I tell you, sister, they recycle these police officers and police chiefs. Yeah, they just recycle them over and over again, and it really often you don't get public scrutiny of the hiring unless somebody like yourself or someone from where they're coming from says, no, you don't want this person. But even then, a lot of times it don't even matter. This is who they want, and this is who they get. And I think we just have to continue to do what you're doing, which is working, organizing, falling in love with one another, brothers and sisters, not waiting. So Brother Naba'a shouldn't wait for tragedy to strike him personally for him to take an interest. He should take an interest in seeing. Right. I mean, if there was anybody, brothers and sisters, who should not have died, if there was anybody who should not have died at the hands of police, it was Elijah McClain, 23 years old, 130 pounds, walking home from a store. There's a 911 call about someone sketchy. The police show up. Somehow, this young man, and Sister Midian said 14 officers eventually are there. And this slight, introverted, sensitive, beautiful young man that played a violin for cats at a shelter ends up dead, starting from a chokehold. So you would have to ask the question, how do you go from, sir, what are you doing? I see you're wearing a mask. We got a call, and we just checking things out. Elijah on some of the body cam video says, I'm introverted. I'm just different. How does that? It wasn't a report of a gun. It wasn't a report of a robbery, a rape. It wasn't a report of a kidnapping. But somehow or another, because these people don't see us as human, and they are beasts, this young man ends up dead. So we're talking about a measure of justice, because we can never get true justice, because true justice would mean this young man walking in the door of his home so his mother can embrace him. But we're going to fight for every damn drop of justice that we can get. That's right. And I'm going to close with this. I'm sorry, Sister Midian, I didn't mean to take up your time.
No, you're fine.
But there's a God of justice on scene today, brothers and sisters.
That's right. Come on.
You can believe it. You can disbelieve it. You can believe it. You can disbelieve it. But everything you read in the Bible about God being the avenger, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Pharaoh's children, the firstborn of the Egyptians, losing their lives because Jehovah was angry. All the stuff that you read in the Bible. Let me tell you something. Man. Right. That God is on scene today. So teaches the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Right. And if you don't believe it, just keep watching. But even if you just believe that the moral arc of the universe bends toward justice, if you just believe in karma, if you believe in the law of cause and effect, sow and you reap, right? Right?
That's right.
These people cannot get away. And Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, once said something like, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just And his justice cannot sleep forever.
Cannot sleep forever. That's
Go on,
right.
Sister Midian.
Go ahead.
Wow, so deep. Well, one thing that I'll say is that I definitely believe in those that are not serving their purpose and those that are causing harm and damage. The best thing that we can do in these spaces, y'all, is just make sure the truth is heard.
Go ahead, sister.
We got to make sure that we know that the truth is heard. And so what I will say about Art Acevedo and his time in Austin, the reason why he was dismissed from that space, or there was controversy around his time there, is because it was regarding sexual assault kits that were like rape kits were not being tested. There had been several hundred rape kits that had gone untested. And some of those cases dated back to the 1990s. So under his watch and under his leadership, he had no sense of urgency or no opportunity to ensure that those, and as you were talking about, Sister Rye, right? Like just thinking about just the structures and the systems that are designing these individuals to think that this is the decorum of how we treat each other and how we engage. And when they were gonna have him come back and serve, he was going to be making over $270,000 to serve as this overseer of the Austin Police Department. So if we all just really think about the way that our society and our country in particular is ensuring that these individuals stay in these spaces of leadership, that's part of the reason why this continues and it evolves and it just perpetuates. Because when you start tying all this together, people start seeing their role as a role of power, but not a role of responsibility. And we have to change the narrative, because when people see their authority as responsibility, that requires a relationship. That requires a relationship with those that you impact. When you see it as power, all that requires is isolation, secrets, and keep it in the dark. So we have to be ready to work together to change the narrative. And it starts with the truth. It's just telling each other what is really going on and staying connected and staying educated. And the last thing that I'll say is that as it pertains to young Elijah, the fight is not over. There will be sentencing that will happen for the paramedics that murdered him on March 1st. And so if you want to get involved, if you want to be a part of this story, if you want to be a part of what can happen in that space of sentencing, you can always send a letter, even if it's a simple letter that just says, "May justice be done," or however you want to lean in. You can mail those letters to the Adams County Courthouse. And the address of the Adams County Courthouse is 1100, so 1100 Judicial Center Drive. So again, that's 1100 Judicial Center Drive, and that's in Brighton, Colorado. Brighton is spelled Brighton, and the zip code is 80601. And you're sending that to room 402. That's the courtroom that they will be sentenced in. So there's an opportunity for us to do this collectively, for Chicago to be a part of, and everyone else. I mean, I'm sure that this show goes clear across the country, internationally, but please, if you have the opportunity, let's go old school, y'all, and just send a letter to the judge and write whatever it is that is in your spirit and in your heart. But we can do this together. We can do this collectively. I know that it is hard sometimes to see how we can find resolution. But y'all, if we can feel, we can fight. And if we can feel, we can love.
That's right.
So I just encourage everyone to love and be loved. Yes, absolutely.
Sister Midian,
remind us what they're facing. The paramedics, can you remind us what the possible of the how many years they're facing?
Yes, absolutely. So for both of the paramedics, they're both facing 3 years in prison for the criminally negligent homicide. So 3 years in prison for criminally negligent homicide. And then the Second paramedic Peter Cichuniec, who was also charged with second-degree assault, he is facing an additional 3 years in the county jail.
Yeah.
And we can also tell the judge that he does not have to run those concurrently. He can run one and then another. So he doesn't have to run them concurrently.
Yeah, and Sister Midian, if you could do this for me, if you could text me that address and who the letter should be addressed to. Brothers and sisters, you'll be able to go to StraightWords.com, and you'll be able to go to StraightWords Media on Facebook, and you'll be able to go to @RM Final Call, but we're going to have a place online where you can go and get that information. I'm saying, brothers and sisters, look, literally, let me tell you something. If I got to rip a piece of paper out of my daughter's notebook and write this letter and send it to the judge, I'm doing it.
Right.
So don't worry about I got a printer, I don't have ink. I know you like me. I got a daggone printer at the house, ain't got ink. I don't have stationery. Brothers and sisters, do you have a heart? And do you have a willingness to fight? So in this instance, we're fighting with our pens, and we are letting the judge know from around the country now, and hopefully around the world, that we want the maximum for this sentence. Sister Midian, when are the perpetrators supposed to be sentenced? What's that date?
Yes, sentencing will happen on March 1st.
Yeah. So we don't have a lot of time, brothers and sisters, for that letter to get there. So we need to do something like get them letters out this weekend. Get them out. Hey, send them overnight if you got to. You know, and just let them know. You know, I'll put together, Sister Midian, with your permission, I'll put together a basic kind of form letter that you can copy, and we'll have that, inshallah, on StraightWords.com tomorrow, okay? StraightWords.com. So, Sister Midian, you got about, I guess, 5 minutes or so left. And I want to thank you, sister, and as always, give our love, our support, and our greetings of peace to Elijah's mother and his family. Because this is like my nephew. And this is how we got to take this, brothers and sisters.
That's right.
This ain't some stranger. This is my nephew who was slaughtered in the street in 2019. And all we're being asked to do at this point is to write a letter. I think if we're living people, we can do that. You love yourself? Write that letter. You want some sense of justice? Write that letter. You want to fight? Write that letter. Sister Midian, give us that address one more time, and we will have it online tomorrow at straightwords.com. But give it to us one more time.
Absolutely. So you're sending letters to the Adams County Courthouse, and the address is 1100, so 1100 Judicial Center Drive, and that's in Brighton, which is spelled BRIGHTON, Colorado. The zip code is 80601, and that's going to courtroom 402.
Are we addressing it to a particular judge?
Yes, it is Judge Mark, M-A-R-K, Warner, W-A-R-N-E-R.
Thank you, sister. Anything else you want to add?
I guess what I'll add here is, as we think about this time and the role that we can play, this is really time for us to really be thinking about our ancestors and the way that they did what they did. They have already done so much for us. It is time for us to bring this to harvest, y'all. It's time for us to reap what our ancestors have already sown. Elijah should not be, we should not be without Elijah. God made a promise when he made that young man. And all of those involved collectively in his murder, they robbed us of that promise. So when we think about the time that we are in and the history that is being written, this is something that Mammy Till came before us and did not want us to be having this conversation.
Go ahead, sister.
That's right.
So many people came before us and said, no, I don't want that for the next. Yet we are here. So we have to continue to ensure that we are doing what we are supposed to do in this timeline, and we have to be able to channel the wisdom and the burning desire from those that came before us. We have to preserve that. And for us now, it's time for us to reimagine. How do we preserve what they gave us and now reimagine how we do take this further and how we do finally eradicate what is happening to our people? Because this is our time now. And I've said it before, right. We've gone from up next to up now. This is us.
Come on.
And so if we sit, then we might as well start grieving now the legacy of who we are. We might as well be grieving our great-grandchildren right now if we sit.
That's right.
We have to fight. Is it exhausting? Yes. It is unfair? Yes. It's unjustified? Yes. And this is the time that we are in. This is the time that we've been given. And I will stand shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of y'all. When y'all are tired, I'll hold you up. And if I'm tired, I need y'all to hold me up. But we can do this together, y'all. We can do this together.
Right.
No more. No more. No more.
Sister Midian.
And the leaders like Art Acevedo, y'all, it's time. This is the time that this ends.
And sister, I got your text. I'm going to follow up. Hey, look, brothers and sisters, let me say this too. If any of you have your own platforms, I don't care how big, I don't care how small. I don't care how big, I don't care how small. We want to try to get Sister Midian as much access as possible so she can speak in particular before this March. Is it March 1st?
March 1st, yes.
So we got work to do. So Sister Midian, I'll be working on this thing, inshallah, tomorrow. And hopefully we can get you out. Because like I said, brothers and sisters, if there was anybody who should not have died as a result of a chokehold and then being administered a sedative that could kill a daggone horse, it was our little brother Elijah McClain.
Yeah.
It was him. It was him, man. You got to feel that in your soul. You got to see that. It's got to resonate with you. We should not be the Negroes of yesterday, where we don't know ourselves and we hate ourselves and if it ain't me and somebody in my house, I don't care. That's not who we are. That's never who we have been, brothers and sisters. We've never been that. So come on now. Go to StraightWords tomorrow. Excuse me. And we will we'll have you we'll have this information up. Thank you, Sister
Thank
Midian.
you so much.
And
yes, of course. Thank you.
If you need me, call me.
I will. I really appreciate you all.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Right.
And I will pass on to Shanine the love that y'all are carrying.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. Good night, you all.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Peace.
Hey, Brother BJ, we got about 2 minutes for brothers and sisters. I really hope that you heard what was said. Hope it means something to you. Brother BJ, we need help.
Yes.
Man. What do people need to do if they want to keep this thing going?
Well, Brother Naba'a, Brother James G., we are asking our people that are listening to this show, wherever you are, we need your financial support because freedom ain't free. And even though we're on WVON dropping compelling content every week, we got to pay for it, and we need your help to stay on the air. We've been on since, May?
May. I believe May 2nd, right? 2023?
Yeah, May 2nd. Yeah, man, and this has been an incredible ride, man. We enjoy it so much. We want to keep bringing this information to you. So on Cash App, go to StraightWords, $StraightWords, $StraightWords on Cash App, and make your best donation on Zelle, 312-480-9775, 312-480-9775. Also on PayPal, it's StraightWords, 4 @gmail.com. And if you're a business in the greater Chicago area and you want to support us, be one of our supporters and advertisers, please reach out to us on our website, straightwords.com, and we'll get back in contact with you and market and promote your business on our show. So we thank y'all so much for what you're doing for us. Coming up, brothers and sisters, next hour, one of the great scholars of the Nation of Islam, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, will be here, and we want you to line up with your questions, 773-591-1690. You can jump on the line and join us right here on WVON 1690. This is the Talk of Chicago.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
I'm Terry McCready.
And I'm Kevin Brown, and you're home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The youngest son of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has died following a battle with prostate cancer. The King Center has confirmed Dexter Scott King has passed away. His wife, Leah Weber King, said he died peacefully in his sleep at their Malibu home. King was 62. The Black Information Network will have more details coming up.
A closer look at a viral video of a campus police officer kneeling on a black teenager near a high school in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Clark County School District says the teen refused officers' warnings to back away from the active scene, which sparked the encounter. ACLU Nevada Executive Director Ata Asabullah.
Back up! Back up! Back up! Come in here again. Stop moving, dude. Stop moving. Stop moving.
The incident happened last February, but the video was withheld for almost a year until the American Civil Liberties Union complained. The officer involved has reportedly denied any wrongdoing.
GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley is hoping to translate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race into momentum at the ballot box. The former South Carolina governor at a rally over the weekend in a New Hampshire high school auditorium.
Thank you so much, Exeter, for coming out. Can you hear that sound? That's the sound of a two-person race.
Haley telling the crowd, may the best woman win, while she's still polling far behind the former president in the polls. The DeSantis announcement has apparently energized her campaign ahead of the primary in the Granite State.
Upcoming nuptials for South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott. The former presidential candidate announced his engagement to Mindy Nose over the weekend. The couple began dating last year after meeting at church, and there was plenty of intrigue surrounding Scott's relationship status on the 2023 campaign trail. 58-year-old Scott formally endorsed Donald Trump for president during a rally in New Hampshire.
All right, well, officials at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, are confirming the location of the lost Port Tampa Cemetery. It's the burial site for many black families interred during segregation following an archaeological survey identifying over 100 possible graves there. Public Affairs Officer 2nd Lieutenant Laura Anderson telling ABC News that it was a solemn feeling knowing that one of Tampa's lost cemeteries is located where they live and work. Researchers at the Tampa Bay History Center contacted the base 5 years ago about the possibility of a cemetery inside the base after records were discovered dating back to 1939, gave a loose description of the Port Tampa Cemetery's location. For more international, national, state, and local news impacting the black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black Information Network and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at BlackInfoNet. I'm Terry McCready along with Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Thank you for making MLK Weekend a huge success on Vine TV. If you missed the premieres of Speak Sister Speak featuring Cheryl Lee Ralph or Vine Talks, you can catch them both on demand on Vine TV. Coming soon, we're releasing our exciting February lineup featuring our Friday night of premieres and loads of interesting Black history content. And in the new year, Vine TV has got a new look. We're providing an easier viewer experience as you explore loads of our great digital content. Vine TV is easy to watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. Vine TV is our culture on purpose.
It's all about great food and service at Let's Eat to Live restaurant located at 621 East 67th Street on the south side of Chicago. Fresh, healthy, life-giving meals prepared with love. Veggies, fish, chicken, lamb, burgers, soups, breads, delicious desserts, and more. Some coming from our on-site garden in season. We got good food for your soul at 621 East 67th Street. That's Let's Eat to Live restaurant. You can stop by or call us at 773-966-6549 or visit the website letseattolivcafe.com.
Hey, WVON family, this is Kendall Moore, the host of The Kendall Moore Show. Fridays are always cracking from 6 until 9, so make sure that you're tuned in to The Kendall Moore Show. Cheers.
Year with passion, vision, and commitment. Driving our weekly radio show, Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, and Brother B.J. Murphy. We're broadcasting on the historic WVON AM 1690, The Talk of Chicago, one of the few black talk radio stations in America. And we plan to stay here, and we're asking for your help. Our Straight Words radio show is Black America's collective heartbeat, a space for black voices, black stories, and the black struggle for true freedom, justice, and equality. We represent honest, spirited defenses of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with clarity, accuracy, and bold truths. Make your strongest donation to help us via Cash App. That's $StraightWords, $StraightWords on Cash App. Via Zelle, send your donations to 312-480-9775. And using PayPal, send financial support to StraightWords, 4, at gmail.com. And don't forget, brothers and sisters, tune in every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to midnight Central Time on WVON AM 1690, or listen on the iHeartRadio app or WVON.com. Visit StraightWords.com for our audio archives and visit at StraightWords Media on YouTube for our videos and special features. We're black, we're strong, and we unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weeknights, 6 to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I'll bring a national perspective to all things happening in Black America. It's talk the way you like it, and it's why America is listening.
It's the legendary Tavis Smiley, weeknights at 6 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Discover the captivating world of black art and history at AfricanWorldArt.com. Are you seeking a unique and meaningful gift, or do you just want to come celebrate the richness of the black diaspora? Our online gallery is the place for you with a wide selection of paintings, sculptures, prints, posters, and more. Journey through time with images that document our triumphs and challenges, from present-day icons to ancient civilizations, as well as the struggles of slavery, resistance, civil rights, the Black Power movement, and the Black impact on sports, entertainment, politics, and global justice. AfricanWorldArt.com is more than just an online store. It's an inspiration drawn from our experiences. Visit AfricanWorldArt.com or call 267-312-4189. That's 267-312-4189. AfricanWorldArt.com. Since 1985, it's where black fine art and historical pictures come to life. That's African spelled with a K. AfricanWorldArt.com.
What's up, Chicago? This is B.J. Murphy.
This is Naba'a Richard Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Richard Muhammad and
Brother B.J. Murphy.
And we are black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hey, Alexa, Play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
Come on, brothers and sisters. It's WVON 1690. This is the talk of Chicago. Black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan. You're listening to Straight Words with Brother Richard Naba'a Muhammad. Also, Brother James G. Muhammad, Brother B.J. Murphy. We are here every Tuesday, brothers and sisters. That thing got me hyped, man. 9 p.m. until midnight. We're going to be here, brothers and sisters, by the provision of Almighty God, Allah. We thank him so much for allowing us this platform, WVON 1690. And we got a strong hour of power, Brother Naba'a, Brother James G. What we got for the people, brother?
You know, we have holding. We've got Brother Wesley Muhammad, who's going to join us in a few in our 10 o'clock hour. But then in our final hour, we're going to have, inshallah, two brothers come on and talk to us about reparations. One is actually part of the reparations movement in California, which is doing some interesting things. But Brother Doctor, student minister, Brother Wesley Muhammad, are you in with us right now?
I am. Assalamu alaikum and happy Savior's Day.
Man, happy Savior's Day.
Happy Savior's Day, Doc.
Happy Savior's Day. Walaikum salam, bro.
Wow.
How brother's doing?
Brother.
Doing well.
Man,
hey,
you know, whenever I hear from you, I'm doing well. I'm trying not to be too hyped, but this man, this man is awesome.
Yes, sir. He's a treasure.
Man, Brother Wesley, I know we kind of we talked about kind of being free-flowing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start from a different place, and I hope it makes sense. So if I don't make sense, or if I'm unclear, say, Brother Naba'a, that don't make sense. Or you need to clear that up. But I had a conversation earlier, Brother Wesley, right? And so often we talk about the harrowing conditions in which we find ourselves and the conditions that plague our people. But what I said to this person in the conversation is, we are not predestined for that. If God came to save us and gave us a savior, actually saviors, right?
Mm.
If he came to save us and to put us in heaven at once, do we have to suffer? Or is our suffering commensurate with our failure to understand and to act in accord with the time and what the God is trying to do for us? Does that make sense, Brother Wesley, or did I have a little bit too much coffee today?
No,
Make a lot of sense.
The only thing I might nuance a bit, real minor, I would just say that, in fact, a harrowing condition we were predestined for.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that Black America has found itself in. Black America is very peculiar from everything and every people on the planet. This condition was predestined. It was, God did say, be to this condition. He allowed Satan to take us to the depths of hell.
Yes.
So black people live in hell, yes, by design. Now the problem is, and why your point is so correct, God did come to give to us our earnings from living in this condition. See, God didn't put us in this condition because he's an evil God. He did not predestine this fate for us because he's an evil God. He did so because he knew this condition will reward us like no people in 76 trillion years of existence has ever been rewarded. This, our suffering was always intended to be redemptive. Now, the time was set for God to come and deliver that redemption. Give us the reward that we earned in 2023. Now 2024. Black people remaining in this condition because, to your point, Brother Naba, black people have refused the hand of God that has come to make our suffering redemptive. In 2024, we should not be suffering collectively the way we are. We do so now only because we are not accepting God's hand to us to translate our suffering into salvation.
Wow, Brother Wesley, thank you. And look, brothers and sisters, 773-591-1690. We want you to call in and join and take advantage of this conversation. Brother Wesley, can we take a call real quick? This looks like Cherokee James. Let's bring Cherokee in. Cherokee, you're in the conversation. Welcome to the show.
Yes, Alito, good narrator you bring in.
Can you speak up just a little bit so we can make sure we hear you, okay?
Okay, is that better?
That's a little better, yes, sir.
Okay, well, we don't fall. You fall to your knees. I fell to my knees, you know. Being a Cherokee native from Mississippi, I have land in the country inherited by my ancestors. And a lot of us do. That's my reparation.
Yes, sir.
And I'm talking with my family now, planting food out there and building out there. And this is what a lot of us are doing like our ancestors did and tried to do. But the request is to the settlers and the government to not allow us to do it, but they know we want to do it. We just don't want to do it we're in fear. We want to do it to make America and heal America from its past. From Andrew Jackson taking the South, 145 million acres at Smoky Mountain, all the South, Mississippi, Atlanta, Georgia, Florida, and removing our people to Oklahoma through the Trail of Tears. We don't want that anymore. We want safety is the big thing in our land. That's the trouble. We want safety, and when you tell them that you are indigenous of this land, that's my safety. I'm a peaceful person. I don't commit crimes. I'm very peaceful. because I'm indigenous in blood. And so what I'm trying to say is a lot of us have land, and don't be scared to go and build there.
Yes, sir.
That's really our only option at this time. People are vacating Africa, vacating all over the world. Okay, that's your choice. I choose to build here. You know, my ancestors say, keep your 10 toes down. So that I'm going to leave you with that.
All right.
And kind of give me some feedback on us building on our land again, like 1,000 townships, Tulsa, Rosewood. Can you give me a little bit of that thought? I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Cherokee. Brother Wesley, you want to offer some thoughts on our brother's comments?
Well, our destiny is land. Our future is absolutely contingent upon the acquisition of land. And so the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we want and we deserve from the U.S. government as reparations. He did not use that language.
Right.
But that is what it amounts to. We are owed states where we can establish our own independent sovereign nation. So the discussion around and about reparations must be anchored in the acquisition of land. Any discussion of reparations that does not center the land that's due us, I think is reaching for low fruit, low hanging fruit.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate our brother's emphasis on the land question and whether with our indigenous family, but you know, the so-called Negro in America too, we have paid in blood for the status at this point of indigenous. I'm sure I murdered that word. It's late.
It's all right.
Talking to my head. But at this point, we paid the cost in blood to be considered indigenous to this land, owners to this land. The last point I will make on that point is why we in the nation of Islam, under the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and today the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, we understand the cry and the ideology of going back to Africa, and we always want that option and that right. But the program of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad does not prepare us to leave America and return to Africa. The promised land is here in America. This soil, drenched with the blood of our indigenous family and drenched with our blood. With that blood, we paid the price for this real estate. So the future of the black man in America, come to find out, it's not in Africa. The post-slavery future of the black man and woman in America, it's not in Africa. It's here in America, but under a righteous governing body of the black man and woman. Right. Separate from the white man.
All right. All right. Let's take another caller. Let's take Joe, who's been holding. Let's bring Joe.
How you doing?
Hey, welcome to the show, Joe. Go ahead with your question, please, or your comment.
Yeah, with this reparation, it just don't seem real to me. I don't think they want to give us nothing. All these years, I don't think they want to give us nothing. It's gonna be hard for them to give us something, man. I don't know what the deal on that is, but you know. I mean, ain't got enough of us pushing for it, man.
Yeah.
And another thing, it seemed like we taking a step backwards here in the United States. Now you got a man out there now, Donald Trump, and he's going through the same policies that we went through when it was Martin Luther King. We were doing all that marching, Yes. It seems like every one of them that get up in there, man, is the same way, racist, I mean, I can't figure it out. All them white supremacists. And then you got some of us black people. We want him now. We want the white man. We want the white supremacist to be a mayor. Because they're migrants. The migrants over there, we want him. This man ain't going to get no migrants out there. He going to get up in there, man, and look out for himself. You know that. You don't care about no black people. You understand? Mm-hmm. Then they got a lot of these old black celebrities even wanting. Guys like Don Keene and Mike Tyson, all these people, Still O'Neal, they want Trump. I mean, it's the way we do, black people, when we get up there, we just don't want to treat each other right, man. Just can't figure it out, man,
Well, let's Joe, thank you. Let's bring Brother Wesley back and let's see if we can kind of figure this out together. Thank you, Joe, for calling. Brother Wesley, you heard our brother, so I'm gonna let you go, and then after you say what you say, I might say something, but I might not need to say nothing.
Oh, I'm sure, because I want to be edified by your thoughts on the matter as well. I would only say to my brother Joe, I agree with you. It is not in while reparations are due to America's former slaves. It is right and it is just that we receive reparations. I agree with you, Brother Joe. It is not in the nature of America to do justice by her former slaves. It's not in her nature to do so. I, like you, do not see America willingly giving us what's due, but we in the Nation of Islam, we don't lose any sleep over that prospect.
Right.
That's right.
Because the Quran says Allah takes the kingdom from whom he pleases, and he gives it to whom he pleases. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put on the back of the newspaper what the Muslims want, and he identified our desire to have states given to us by the government, and that the government has a duty to take care of our needs in that state or territory of our own for 25 years. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made that offer to the enemy, it wasn't because we needed the enemy to accept that offer.
Ooh.
The messenger of God offering the enemy an opportunity to earn a glass of water in hell. That's all that was. That's all that is. So we don't need him to be accommodating, to be conciliatory. We don't need him to be other than who he is, a man who by nature is incapable of being just to his former slaves. All we need is to know that Allah has come, and reparations will come to us. The question is, how many white people will make it into the hereafter?
Woo! Brother Wesley, I just wanted to add, I ain't got nothing to add. We're going to go to Art and let him ask his question and make his comment.
Go ahead.
Art, go right ahead.
Hey, good evening, young people. Here's a statement, and that is a question. I'm looking at our community, and I see a broken family, black man, black woman, black children. And until we can get to the basic community code of conduct, and a universal family value system, and rebuild and re-strengthen the black family. All is lost until the churches, the mosques can come together and put religious doctrines to the side and deal with the fundamental principles of rebuilding and re-strengthening general and universal community codes of conduct. All is lost for black people in our community. So I've been around and I ain't seen and heard it pretty much everything, and it seems like at this present point we're in the same spot or worse than we were before. And I see it until those men and women who are sitting in position of authority and power and have the people's ear to whatever degree, into those individuals come together and indoctrinate or campaign on rebuilding the black family, which is a black man, black woman, and black children. All is lost. We have so much crime, killing, murder, and the way we used to do things is totally different. I'm not saying the principle is not the same, but the way we're going about it. And until we can catch the youth and those men and women who are not getting it, I don't see no way out of this unless we rebuild the black family and focus on family, the black family.
Yeah.
Because other ethnicities, they deal with family. That's why they are successful. They talk about the family. We on all types of other stuff, and I'm not saying those things are not important, but until we get to the basics, I just don't see, so far I haven't seen any improvement. It's worse than it was before.
You know, Art,
yes.
Excuse me. We know that this is the issue that you are dedicated to. But like I said last week, man, if you start organizing people, if you start pulling people together to have discussions about this community code of conduct, we will bring you on the show, man, and give you an hour to talk about this work that you're doing to approach mosques, to approach churches, to approach community leaders. And everything starts small. The Me and Man March started small, but it was the faith. So, you know, I think that that's a great idea and something that's needed. But it takes somebody to be the catalyst. And I say, since it's your idea, get busy and we will support you in trying to do what needs to be done to build the black family, okay? So we're going to go to
Let me just say this real quick.
I definitely would like to comment on my brother's great comments, if I may.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you finish, and Brother Wesley, you can come right in, okay?
Yes, sir. I challenge Brother Wesley. I challenge you, brother. I challenge the entire mosque because I'm familiar with that. I challenge Trinity Church. I challenge all of you all because it's not me as an individual. I can come and I can, just like I'm speaking to you all on the radio, but if we're willing to open our ears and sit certain things to the side and hear exactly what I'm saying, it's really simple. It's not hard. We have to focus and rebuild and re-strengthen family and sit the doctrines to the side and say the focus we want to focus on is rebuilding the black family and come up with simple programs that all churches and mosques, no matter who show up there, this is what black people are teaching our young people, men and women who have missed it, where it don't matter what place we show up. This is not no hard. Dr. Wesley, he's a doctor, a scholar. All you young people are brilliant. I don't have no college degree or any of these different things. But I know one thing, it ain't that hard. We just got to have the will to say, hey, you know, we can do this because it's not hard. And this is what our people are missing. They're missing something universal. We all just in our own corners tooting our own personal position, but we're not teaching anything that's universal, no matter what church or mosque you're going to. This is the book that we are operating from, that the community agrees with. But I'll leave you there, and I would love to hear what you brothers think on that. May God continue to bless.
All right, thank you. Brother Wesley, go ahead, and then I may go after you, but you may just not leave me nothing to say, but go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Our brother's name is Brother Arthur.
Right, or Art, either one. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Art, for your words. I don't know what your challenge is or was. The words that I heard from you are absolutely spot on. The fact of the matter is, the fundamental problem of Black America is the destruction of the family. Brother Art, I do not know if you know, but the code of the Nation of Islam is God, family, nation.
Say that again, Brother Wesley.
God, family, nation. That's our code. God is at the root of family. I want to speak on that and share something with you that maybe you might not have perceived. God, family, nation. The nation is nothing but the conglomerate, the aggregate of the family. The family is the microcosm of the nation. So you neutralize the family, you destroy the nation. Right. So in Islam, the sins and the crimes that bear the most severe penalty are those sins or crimes that violate family structure. So, Brother Art, the problem is the family, and the solution, as you are suggesting, is the family, the restoration of the family. Here's the complication. George Soros gives Black Lives Matter, the organization, millions of dollars. Why? Because George Soros values Black life? I doubt that very seriously. What I do know is that the millions of dollars that George Soros gave to Black Lives Matter, the group, went to promote a particular idea of village, of community, of Black community. And in that envisioned community that our enemy financed to the tune of millions of dollars, that village specifically had a place for mother, child, but no father. And why this is important is because Black Lives Matter, all of us are chanting it. And all of us are supportive of it, but the devil always comes through a Trojan horse. He always slides in through a Trojan horse. Yes, the motto Black Lives Matter is right, but there's a movement underneath that motto that went to the heart of Black America, the Black family. And what is the real aim? What is the real method of neutralizing the Black family? It's making sure there is no Black father there. So, beloved, you mentioned great language, community code of conduct. The Nation of Islam is not a religion. We are a community code of conduct. That's precisely how we move. This is why people, Black people, they like to listen to us But most of us are keeping adequate degrees of distance from us because you know that the Nation of Islam is beyond religious teaching. We embody a code of conduct.
Right.
And that code of conduct, if our code of conduct was embraced, forget the religion. If our code of conduct was embraced community-wide, then the community would be God, family, nation. The community will have a strong black male head of household there that is not just head of household, but head of community. See, today, Brother Art, we want to be too progressive.
Yeah.
We want to negotiate what family can look like, can be like. We don't want to come off as being Neanderthal and patriarchal because don't nobody like that in America today. Because don't nobody like a man being in authority in the black home.
Mm.
The assault on the black family is, you put your finger there, brother, right on it. The black family is the problem. The black family is the solution. I'm suggesting that we have to see the assault against the family, the black family, at a deeper level. Because when all of black America was made to get behind the movement of Black Lives Matter, most of us did not know that that was a directed assault on the black family. Satan comes subtle. So I don't know what your challenge was to me, Brother Arthur. You get no argument on your proposition from me or from us in the Nation of Islam. We know that the assault on the family is the problem and the restoration of the family is the solution. This is why we, talking about, and I'll close on this, community code of conduct, Monday night, men's training to be good men, good fathers. Saturday morning, women's training our sisters to be good wives, good mothers. The problem is we think that we just wake up like that. No, you got to be trained. You got to have a particular knowledge in order to be a good father. You got to have a particular knowledge in order to be a good wife and mother. You don't wake up like that.
That's right.
That's a code of conduct that we live.
All right. I'll just add this to Art. I'm not following Brother Wesley. Let me just be clear on that. But Art, I said that you should start the organizing because you have the idea. And if your idea is rooted in truth, you don't need to have none of the other things. All you need to do is to take your concept of the truth and then try to connect people as you desire for them to be connected. That's all. It's like the show that we have. We had a desire, right? We had a desire to be a voice and a defense for Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, but not just any voice. We decided happily that we were going to brand ourselves as black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Right.
Right? We didn't call for somebody else to do it. We did it. We had an idea. So we started, by Allah's grace, organizing forces. So now we're blessed to have Brother BJ, Black Radio Hall of Fame radio personality. I don't think you heard me. I done bumped into the microphone. Black Radio Hall of Fame, James G. Muhammad, consummate media professional, senior vice president of a major organization that knows media communications. Man, are you kidding me? And he's a former editor-in-chief of the Final Call. And he went on the World Friendship Tour with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Go ahead.
So I say, Art, again, man, you got the seed. You have the idea. It's beautiful to spread it over the airwaves. But if you want us to come together, somebody's got to take the lead. And I know you, like, sometimes you don't say, but we need leadership, Art. And if this is your vision, if this is your thing, we welcome you to step forward. Brother James, Brother BJ, y'all kind of quiet. Y'all can get in on this, or y'all just like me.
It was a great conversation, man. And and I agree on everything you said, and as well as Brother Wesley. But I was going to ask Dr. Wesley, and I didn't want to take it off the track of the conversation, but, you know, I know Dr. Wesley's been out front with a lot of different topics that he brings up for the public consumption, like his book on your book, Brother Wesley, on assault on the male masculinity, which was part of the conversation we just had, and the pot plot, how you talked about what they're doing with the marijuana and various other issues. So I was wondering, is there something top of mind that you are looking at that we should be really concerned about that maybe we haven't mentioned yet? Of course, we know the Honorable Minister Farrakhan is going to speak, and I know you're kind of getting prepared for all of that. But is there something else that you're doing your research on that you think we need to know about that we may not be focusing on, that we may need to focus on?
Well, you know, they say there's 6 million ways to kill a man. The white man is killing us in 6 million in one way. So every contribution is important. This is why I don't dismiss anybody's thinking. We in the Nation of Islam, we don't delegitimize any black organization. They may not be doing what we're doing, but that's good because somebody got to do it, because all of it needs to be done. Our focus might not be your focus. Everybody's focus lands right because our problem is everywhere. I would not, dear brother, suggest that there's something that I'm personally doing that I would say on these airwaves the people should focus on. I do think the people should get ready to focus February 25th to 2024. Focus on the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan and the message he will deliver. We are living in a very dark hour. And we have not experienced such traumatic world events and then witness the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan be so quiet for so long. That should let you know that Allah is feeding him and has made him pregnant with a very important message for the world that's going to put all of this in its proper perspective for all of us. And this is an hour light. We have not seen, my God, we just come through COVID and all of the fears and the loss of COVID, but the minister said that was the beginning. And so here we are today. COVID is gone, so President Biden said. We've passed through that, but to end up here. Where is here? I think all of us should be anxiously awaiting the answer to that question that we will hear from the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. That is the focus.
And I just would add on that, though, COVID broke out as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan spoke in Detroit, and we're going back to Detroit. So as you said, it's very significant. And we got to be on watching out for what comes out of that.
I didn't even make that connection. Great observation, dear brother.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Dr. Wesley.
Go ahead, Brother BJ.
I got a quick question for you, brother. I wanted to see what your take on with the deeper understanding of what you may have saw that nobody else saw in the Cat Williams, Shannon Sharp interview where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's name was mentioned. Then Brother Willie D on his podcast, he also made reference to the minister, and combined, both of those podcasts got 87 million views, brother. So what do you think was the fascination, particularly with Black America, with the minister's name being referenced in those two podcasts? Did you see anything that we may have missed?
I don't know. I certainly would not say that. I saw a number of things in particular in the Cat Williams interview. I did watch it. I was led to it for reasons unrelated to what the 2.5 hours were about. Of course, we don't like to see black on black altercations on any level.
Right.
I did not know Cat Williams's relationship to the Nation of Islam. They're out in Oakland, he said. I did not know that. I did not know his relationship to the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. That was great. I have to tell you, there was one thing of that 2.5 hours, I think nearly 3 hours of that interview. There was a single thing that made the whole time I listened worthwhile. The piece, there was a particular piece that got my attention, and it ain't got nothing to do with Cat Williams' funk with his fellow comedians.
Right.
He said he revealed something that was a mic drop. Let me back up a little context. When I was blessed to speak on the assassination of Michael Jackson, a dear brother Michael Jackson, I spoke on the dark side of Hollywood. Hollywood's darkest side is gay pedophilia. Hollywood is a dark, dark, dark place. And when we spoke at the Salam restaurant on the subject during a mass, myself and Sister Janita in that episode, I said that Harvey Weinstein is a cover. Harvey Weinstein, up until this point, has been presented as more like a heterosexual predator, typical man, Hollywood power mogul who abused women with the casting couch. And Harvey Weinstein, he messed up and was kicked out of the club. He was offered up as a sacrifice, but the whole narrative around Harvey Weinstein's abuses and the Hollywood abuses was his abuse, heterosexual abuse of women. But the darkness of Hollywood ain't that, I said that. Hollywood's dark foundation is homosexual pedophilia. And Harvey Weinstein being tossed out there and all the media around him and his abuse of women, that was a smokescreen. So when Cat Williams sat there and said, he just in passing let it fall out of his mouth that he was, one more point, because see, all of Harvey Weinstein's pals in Hollywood are the gay mafia. The mafia of Hollywood is not a heterosexual mafia, it's a gay mafia. And Harvey Weinstein, all of his people were the gay mafia, but the entire narrative was totally heterosexual. Heterosexual predation. The predator, this was heterosexual male who's a predator. Well, when Cat Williams sat on that couch and said he was in the room when Harvey Weinstein, in front of all of them, offered to perform fellatio on Cat Williams. That's the first time. See, that was a whoa. That was the first time the gay element was introduced into the Harvey Weinstein narrative. But we had always said that no, the Harvey Weinstein narrative, media narrative, is a smokescreen. The true evil of Hollywood is not women on the casting couch. The true evil of Hollywood is gay pedophilia.
Wow.
And so that, to me, was a jaw-dropping moment. Or that 2.5 hours of Brother Cat Williams' discussion on Shannon Sharp. I do hope our brother, regarding all of what he spoke of, I do hope our brothers can work it out.
Yes, sir, brother.
But I appreciate him having the courage to drop that jewel, that detail gave clarity to the whole Harvey Weinstein affair.
Brother Wesley, you know we're at that point where I have to ask you if you can stay over a little bit because we got some questions.
A little bit. I can't stay too much longer,
Okay.
but I got another 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, good. All right. Cliff, let's get you in. Let's get your question in, Cliff, for 2 minutes. Then we're going to take a break. Then we're going to come back and wrap up these other calls. Okay, Cliff, go ahead.
That sounds fair. Hey, I want to stay on that subject to segue into my issue, my question, and that gayness, that homosexuality. You know, Brother Wesley, I totally agree. And let me also say this, that Puffy is involved in that. And then that leads up to T.D. Jakes, you know, our black clergy, our high elite and recognizable black clergy. I believe that happened as well. So the point I'm making is that when it comes down to the black leadership, and I am a Christian, I belong to the Black Baptist Church. However, in terms of leadership and the spokespeople or the spokesperson for the black community, I don't trust the black pastors as the spokesperson for our community. And let me give you another example. And you mentioned earlier, the vaccine. Now, many in our black community, the government, led by white Democrats, deceived and convinced many of our black preachers to take the vaccine. I myself, when this whole thing came out, was very skeptical. But what I did do, I turned to the minister to get truth because I know that without a doubt, historically, that the minister had always had love for the black people. So why would he tell us to take the vaccine when he shows and demonstrates love to us? So when he said take hydrochloroquine or ivermectin as an option, then I refuse at that point to take any of those vaccines. However, in Connecticut, many of our black preachers.
Cliff?
And you know the whole narrative in terms of we are the population that are most vulnerable. You know the whole spiel with that. But the point I'm saying in closing with this, when we come down to reparations, and this has been my observation, the enemy always converse and deals with the Negroes they can control. So if you want to talk about reparations and would be a perfect solution, in my opinion, the white man ain't going to deal with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's going to go to either the black preachers, the Negro Black Baptist Convention, or he's going to go to the NAACP and these organizations, brothers, and I don't trust and think that they have the best interest of black people. So my question is, how do we get the white man, the enemy, the devil, and that's just coming from me, how do we get them to respect the true leadership and the true representation of the black community other than these fake Negroes, man, that they would prefer to deal with? How do we mandate that the white man, the enemy, deal with the true leadership, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
All right. Thank you, Cliff. Look, we're going to have to take a break real quick, Brother Wesley. We come back. We'll deal with that. You're listening to StraightWords on WVON AM 1690. We're at the top of the hour. Hey, stay tuned. You know you don't want to miss this. We're going to do Brother Wesley, then we're doing reparations. Let's go.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
I'm Terry McCready.
And I'm Kevin Brown, and you're home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The youngest son of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has died following a battle with prostate cancer. The King Center has confirmed Dexter Scott King has passed away. His wife, Leah Weber King, said he died peacefully in his sleep at their Malibu home. King was 62. The Black Information Network will have more details coming up.
A closer look at a viral video of a campus police officer kneeling on a black teenager near a high school in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Clark County School District says the teen refused officers' warnings to back away from the active scene, which sparked the encounter. ACLU Nevada Executive Director Ata Asabullah.
Shut the up! Back up! Back up! Come at me again! Stop moving! Stop moving! Stop moving!
The incident happened last February, but the video was withheld for almost a year until the American Civil Liberties Union complained. The officer involved has reportedly denied any wrongdoing.
GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley is hoping to translate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis dropping out of the race into momentum at the ballot box. The former South Carolina governor at a rally over the weekend in a New Hampshire high school auditorium.
Thank you so much, Exeter, for coming out. Can you hear that sound? That's the sound of a two-person race.
Haley telling the crowd may the best woman win while she's still polling far behind the former president in the polls. The DeSantis announcement has apparently energized her campaign ahead of the primary in the Granite State.
Upcoming nuptials for South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott. The former presidential candidate announced his engagement to Mindy Nose over the weekend. The couple began dating last year after meeting at church, and there was plenty of intrigue surrounding Scott's relationship status on the 2023 campaign trail. 58-year-old Scott formally endorsed Donald Trump for president during a rally in New Hampshire.
All right, well, officials at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, are confirming the location of the lost Port Tampa Cemetery. It's the burial site for many black families interred during segregation following an archaeological survey identifying over 100 possible graves there. Public Affairs Officer 2nd Lieutenant Laura Anderson telling ABC News that it was a solemn feeling knowing that one of Tampa's lost cemeteries is located where they live and work. Researchers at the Tampa Bay History Center contacted the base 5 years ago about the possibility of a cemetery inside the base after records were discovered dating back to 1939 gave a loose description of the Port Tampa Cemetery's location. For more international, national, state, and local news impacting the Black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black Information Network and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Black Infonet. I'm Terry McCready along with Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
It's all about great food and service at Let's Eat to Live restaurant located at 621 East 67th Street on the south side of Chicago. Fresh, healthy, life-giving meals prepared with love. Veggies, fish, chicken, lamb, burgers, soups, breads, delicious desserts, and more. Some coming from our on-site garden in season. We got good food for your soul. It's 621 East 67th Street. It's Let's Eat to Live restaurant. You can stop by or you can call 773-966-6549 or visit the website letseattolivecafe.com.
Thank you for making MLK Weekend a huge success on Vine TV. If you missed the premieres of Speak Sister Speak featuring Cheryl Lee Ralph or Vine Talks, you can catch them both on demand on Vine TV. Coming soon, we're releasing our exciting February lineup featuring our Friday night of premieres and loads of interesting Black history content. And in the new year, Vine TV has got a new look. We're providing an easier viewer experience as you explore loads of our great digital content. Vine TV is easy to watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, WVON's app, or on any device at VON.TV. Vine TV is our culture on purpose.
We're in the new year with passion, vision, and commitment. Driving our weekly radio show, Straight Words with Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad, Brother James G. Muhammad, and Brother B.J. Murphy. We're broadcasting on the historic WVON AM 1690, The Talk of Chicago, one of the few Black talk radio stations in America. And we plan to stay here, and we're asking for your help. Our Straight Words radio show is Black America's collective heartbeat, a space for Black voices, Black stories, and the Black struggle for true freedom, justice, and equality. We represent honest, spirited defenses of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with clarity, accuracy, and bold truths. Make your strongest donation to help us via Cash App. That's $StraightWords, $StraightWords on Cash App. Via Zelle, send your donations to 312-480-9775. And using PayPal, send financial support to StraightWords, 4, at gmail.com. And don't forget, brothers and sisters, tune in every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to midnight Central Time on WVON AM 1690, or listen on the iHeartRadio app or WVON.com. Visit StraightWords.com for our audio archives and visit at StraightWords Media on YouTube for our videos and special features. We're Black, we're strong, and we unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
What's up, Chicago? This is B.J. Murphy.
This is Naba'a Richard Muhammad.
Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on WVON 1690, The Talk of Chicago.
And we're streaming live on iHeartRadio and WVON.com. So again, that's Tuesday night, Central Time, 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Straight Words with Naba'a Richard Muhammad and
Brother B.J. Murphy.
And we are Black, strong, and unapologetically pro-Farrakhan.
Hey, Alexa. Play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
In the Civil War, 400,000 blacks on the side
WVON 1690, the Talk of Chicago. We're back, brothers and sisters. This is Straight Words, Brother Naba'a Richard Muhammad. Also, Brother James G. Muhammad. I'm Brother B.J. Murphy. Straight Words, we need your support. $ Straight Words on Cash App, $ Straight Words on Cash App. Make your best donation to continue to hear compelling content like you're hearing tonight with all our special guests. And we ain't through. We got more with Dr. Wesley Muhammad.
Yeah.
Also,
Let's
312.
Yeah, I want to break in real quick, brother.
Okay, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Because we done had about 15 minutes of commercials, and Brother Wesley said he only had 15 minutes. So we're going to do this real quick. Kofi, Tawan, and then Mr. Johnson. I got to give you 1 minute to make your comment or ask your question so we can get Brother Wesley in. Brother Cam Howard and Brother Chris, hold on. We'll be getting to your segment on reparations in a few. Thank you for your patience. So let's go with Kofi. 1 minute, get your comment or your question in to Dr. Wesley. Brother Kofi?
All right, I'll need 30 seconds. Thank you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead, brother. Thank you for your patience,
Can you hear
man.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. I attended the Million Man March, and it was over 400,000. It was $1 million. And if you get 400,000 in the White House Capitol, you can get land. Okay? That's fact. Now, reparations to create.
Brother Kofi, you breaking up. We can't understand you. Can you move a little bit to the left or the right? Yeah, you're breaking up.
Okay.
No, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Let's try one more time. Let's try to speak again. Let's see. Try again. Go ahead. Go ahead, make your point. Yeah, bro, Kofi, we gonna have to let you. We're gonna have to let you go because we can't hear you. I'm sorry. Let's go to Tawan. Sister Tawan, you got 1 minute to make your comment or question to the conversation or to Brother Wesley.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Brother Wesley. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wesley. This is Sister Tawan, one of the students from the open mic study line. You know, I claimed you as my intellectual conspiracy assassin. But I just wanted to say,
yes, ma'am. It's good to hear from you again.
Oh, praise be to Allah. I just wanted to say that when I was listening to the brother talking about the family and all that, and thinking of you, we just completed studying Waging War by Zip Code.
Yes, ma'am.
And currently reading Black Muslim Gods on the Moon. But the Waging War by Zip Code, Dr. Wesley, I wanted to say that, you know, God came to give us a code of conduct, one being how to eat to live. Many of us in the nation even did not know the value of what we had. And in order to I think a big piece of that, in order to develop strong families, we have to start from the beginning, which is what we take in, because we're seeing and we have the receipts on how it is affecting even our reproduction and our birth rate.
All right. Thank you, Sister Tawan. Go ahead, Brother Wesley.
No, I don't have anything to follow that up except to say you're right, and I will add that was a perfect point that you made in terms of code of conduct. Diet is such a critical code of conduct because, in fact, diet impacts behavior. How we act has a lot to do with what we eat, what we ingest. And so our ability and inability to act as men, for example, it is impacted by what we ingest, the chemicals we ingest. So there is no code of conduct that will benefit the community that does not have that critical element of diet and needing to live as a critical part. Thank you, dear sister, for making that connection.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, got to give you 1 minute to make your comment or ask your question to Brother Wesley.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, just observing what's going on in America right now. My question is, what's your take on these migrants coming in, and it looks like they're trying to wage a war between the blacks and the Mexicans or the Spanish. So, should we be take that to heart, or this look like it's something's gearing up? And what's your stand on that?
Yeah, the enemy never departs from a play in his playbook that is always successful. And when those Republican governors decided to do this thing that they're doing, exporting our brothers and sisters, so-called migrants, but they're indigenous to this land, but exporting them, dropping them off in democratic states in the way they do, that's abuse from the Republican governors, abuse of our brown brothers and sisters. And then in these democratic states, they make the decision to drop our brothers and sisters in the largely black areas, knowing the logistical and resource problem that will create, and the friction that it will intensify, friction, pre-existing friction between the black and the brown, that the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam has been trying so hard to mend and overcome. But these conditions created by the very callous act of those Republican governors who exported
Is it unstoppable?
I'm sorry?
I said, is it unstoppable? Is it going to jump off?
Is what going to jump off?
A feud between the Hispanics and the blacks. A fight.
No. We would hope not. We have to see who's really the enemy. While, yes, dropping our brown family in the heart of the black areas in a way that puts black people out, black people who are already suffering loss, suffering resource deprivation. Yes, that increases the difficulty for black life and brown life. We're both affected, but if we fight each other, then we are executing the plan of the puppet master. That's his whole point. It was done.
Right, that's his plan.
But I think we black people, under the voice of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan in Chicago, has heard God's voice through this man. We are capable, I believe, I have faith in us. We are capable of resisting the urge to villainize our brown brothers and sisters. They aren't the villain. We are made very uncomfortable by this situation, but they didn't do it. They are not the villain here. Both the Republicans who exported them like that and the Democrats here who made the decision where to send our brown brothers and sisters. They knew who they were inconvenienced by where they placed them, and they knew what the consequence will be. Our brown family are not the villains. There is a true villain in this in this story, and it's not their fault.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Let's take Kofi again, see if we can get him in. Kofi, we trying you again, my brother. Give you a question or comment.
Okay.
You got a minute, because we got to let Brother Wesley go, and we got to bring in these other guests.
Is that better?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead, loud and clear.
Yes, these South American indigenous who from Venezuela, children of the colonizers, they're here to wage war with us. One of my customers asked me, I'm here for your protection, but if we walk in peace, like we always have since they came here and saw us here, we'll be okay. Walk in peace, guide your family, fathers, guide your children, and we'll be okay. It's just another bump in the road. Everybody comes here. We understand why they come here to make money. But yes, they are going to intensify their pressure and wage war with us. That brother is spot on. But just greet them in peace, mind your business, and carry on. That's all I have to say.
Brother Kofi, thank you. Brother Wesley, thank you for your patience. I guess the final word is yours finally.
Yes, sir. The only I would make my final word this. It is not the Venezuelans who are waging war with us. I am, as I say that, be clear, I am not naive, unaware of the white-minded myth that has seized a lot of our brown family.
Absolutely.
A lot of our brown family look at black people the way white people look at black people.
Right. That's right.
Everybody who thinks they can be white tries to be white, and everybody shows their whiteness by how they treat black people. Everybody does. Arabs, Hispanics, everybody who think they can do that, they do it. So I'm not oblivious to that reality. But I don't. No one's waging war with us except beating them. So if we are going to have war talk and war planning, if we are going to have a spirit of war, my God, it can't be against no Venezuelans.
Go ahead, Brother Wesley.
That's utterly absurd to me. There is a man who has, in the words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said our former slave master is waging eternal war with us. If we don't have war talk for white people, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear no war talk directed towards Venezuelans or anybody other than
right.
the enemy. And when I say war talk, I don't mean the parochial war talk, the gun-toting war talk, as if we're going to get our little guns and wage the war. No, that is as utterly absurd to me as talking war against Venezuelans. The white man has brought war to our shores. The pain caused by imposing our Venezuelan family in the spaces that these local and state governments have done. They imposed our family in the spaces that they are in, which disenfranchises the people who live there, black people. Yeah, it hurts, but keep, as Coach Prime says, keep the main thing the main thing. The Venezuelans ain't the main thing. The main thing is the enemy who's orchestrating this whole thing. So stop reaching for low-hanging fruit.
Brother Wesley, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You try to give me P. Diddy, I'm going to give you Clive. I'm going to raise you Clive Davis.
Woo!
Go ahead.
All right. I got to go.
Okay,
I
look,
love you, family,
how do we
man.
get you? How do we get you? Where do we follow you real quick?
Wesley Muhammad on Instagram, Wesley Muhammad YouTube, Wesley Muhammad Facebook, and I think I'm Wesley Muhammad on TikTok.
All right.
I'm a TikTok, so I don't know.
All right.
But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Thank you, sir.
But most importantly, I'm sorry, my website.
Yes.
www.wesleymuhammad.com.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Love you.
Thank
Love
you,
you,
sir.
man. Thank you for giving us.
Walaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Walaikum.
So, brothers and sisters, look, if you enjoyed that, and we got more, and thank you, Brother Chris, and thank you, Brother Cam, for holding. We coming to this reparations. But look, before we do that, we need your support, man. This is pay-for-play radio. This ain't public access. Brother Robert just handed me some cash money, man. Huh? Huh? From his hand to mine, brother, to support what we doing over here. So look, since you're not in studio, let's do the digital thing. Cash App, $StraightWords. Cash App, $StraightWords. Zelle, 312-480-9775. PayPal, straightwords4@gmail.com. That's straightwords and the number 4@gmail.com. And I got another one for you, Apple Cash. Yeah, for your iPhone carriers. Apple Cash, you can send us a strong donation at 312-480-9775. Brothers and sisters, we absolutely need your help, and we need it tonight because we got bills to pay. But let's move on. Thank you. We're moving on now. Let's bring in Brother Chris, and let's bring in Brother Cam Howard, and we're going to talk about reparations. Brothers, I'm sorry for holding you on, but thank you for bearing with us as we get into the next aspect of this conversation.
No worries. Good night. Good night to you all.
Very good. Very good. Brother Cam, you there too?
I am, brother. Peace. And, yep, as my brother said, we good.
All right. So, look, Brother Chris, I want to start from you. If you could just introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you were doing with reparations out of California, which is a pretty important place when it comes to reparations right now.
Sure. Appreciate it. First of all, assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Salam.
Appreciate everyone. And thank you for the opportunity and really the privilege and the pleasure and the honor being able to be with you tonight. I'm coming to you from California, so I'm about 2 hours in the past and y'all about 2 hours in the future. My name is Chris Larson. As mentioned, I am the lead organizer with the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California. We are California's first, only, and leading grassroots statewide organization born just for reparations and reparative justice for Black American freedmen, Black American descendants of U.S. chattel slavery who are California residents. We have been working on state reparations in California since about 2018, 2019. We helped write the final version of the law that created the California Reparations Task Force. We were chosen by the State Reparations Task Force after it started working to partner with it to help raise awareness about reparations in California. And right now we are working to make California the first state, not just to create a state reparations task force, but the first state to actually do reparations.
Very good. Cam, we're going to come back to you in a minute, but I want to get in a couple of quick questions to Chris. Chris, what is the status in terms of reparations and the delivery of reparations in California? I know that right now I believe the governor has to either line out and veto, I don't know what you call it in California, but I believe he's got to have a balanced budget. So he's got to make some cuts. Where are we at with reparations, and how are you defining reparations?
Sure, I appreciate that. I'll take the last one first, and I'll come back to the first one. So where we are right now, we just came out of what we were calling a transition period. So we were in between the time of when the State Reparations Task Force had finished its work, which was in June of last year, and before the start of the 2024 legislative session, so which is really starting or just started now. So we are at the beginning right now of the 2024 legislative session, and really at the end of that transition period, and really into the period of reparations legislation. So right now we are expecting and anticipating that California's Legislative Black Caucus, which represents the black state legislators, in California, we are expecting and anticipating that they are going to be releasing publicly what will be the first in state history and first in the country's history, state-level reparations and reparations-related bills. So that is something that we are expecting very, very soon. Of course, I would love to come back on and talk to you about that when it happens. So right now we are at the beginning of reparations legislation. We also, though, have one reparations-related bill already that we are already advocating on, and that's Senate Bill 490, and that bill would create the infrastructure for reparations in California. So it would set up a place for people to go to apply for reparations. It would set up a way for people to show that they're eligible for reparations. It would create a place to have people's claims and payments processed. And so this is what Senate Bill 490 does. It creates the infrastructure or the groundwork for reparations in California and for the things that come next. And so we are advocating hard on that bill, SB Senate Bill 490, and that is where we're focused now, in addition to on the other bills that we expect to be coming soon from the California Legislative Black Caucus. So that's the first part of the answer. The second question, though, or the second answer, the answer to the second question, rather, is the State Reparations Task Force had a pretty specific definition of reparations when it made its reparations recommendations, and they fall largely in line with what the United Nations and the international community identifies as reparations. So I'll make it plain. To call something reparations, there have to be 5 pieces to it. The first piece is compensation. That's the financial. That's the monetary. That's the money. That's the checks. We have a saying at the coalition: if it doesn't have compensation, it's not reparations. Our people worked for free for hundreds of years. There is a debt, financial, economic, owed to us, period. Compensation. Restitution, that's the return of land, the return of property, the restoring of you to where you would have been, could have been, should have been, had the bad things that happened to us never happened in the first place. Rehabilitation is the third piece. These are what you might think of as the non-financial forms of reparation, so free social services, free legal services, free medical services, free educational services from cradle to the grave. What we call satisfaction, which are like more symbolic things, a form of public apology, and then finally guarantees of non-repetition. So these are things that change policy, change our system, change our government to make sure that what happened to us never happens again.
Very good. In Cam, we're going to come to you in a minute. Brother Chris, you mentioned land. Is this the return of land that was taken, or land being given to us? So the way that the State Task Force approached this, first they approached it from a land that was taken away to return that approach. And so the State Task Force got testimony from individuals and families across California who had real life stories in their own lives and in the lives of people who were in their families where there was land and property taken. And so the State Task Force approached this from the approach of, hey, we're going to work to return land or at least compensate you for the land and the property that you lost. So that's the approach that the State Task Force took. From our perspective, though, we want a combination of both. So we want both the land that was taken away and also what we call the opportunity to or for land that we would have had, had we had the opportunity that we were owed and that we deserve. So for us and from our perspective, it's a combination of both what was taken and what we should have now too. Very good. Last question: is there a timeline in terms of delivery of these items or this package?
Yes.
Timeline.
So yes, absolutely. That's a great question too. So from what we've heard from the California Legislative Black Caucus, which again are the legislators that are going to be leading this on the legislative side and on the actual making law side, what we've heard is that they have in place a 3-year plan where in the first year they will do some parts of what the state task force recommended. In the second year, they'll do more. And then the third year, they'll do additionally more. So our timeline right now, at least as it concerns what the California Legislative Black Caucus says, is that there's a 3-year time period where each year for the next 3 years, there'll be something happening, some legislation, some reparations legislation working its way to become law.
Very good. Don't go anywhere, Chris. Brother Cam Howard, let's bring you in. Cam, talk a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm the executive director of Reparations United. It's an organization I started a couple of years ago. After I left in Cobra, I was within Cobra for about 17 years or so, and finished with 3 terms of being elected National Male Co-Chair. While I was within Cobra, I was also selected to be a National African American Reparations Commissioner. So I'm a commissioner with NARC that was convened by Dr. Ron Daniels. In 2017, I was a lead writer from NARC that revised H.R. 40, changing it from a study bill to a remedy bill. That bill was adopted by California. The basis of the bill was adopted by California. They wrote a California preamble and took the federal bill pretty much word for word. And then, again, I was also the writer of the Chicago legislation, as well as the state of Illinois legislation that passed and put forth the Chicago Reparations Commission, as well as the Illinois State Reparations Commission. And finally, I inspired and worked indirectly with State Assemblyman Charles Barron in New York, who introduced the New York bill. So I had my hand in every major reparations legislation within the 3 states, as well as the federal government, and also worked with Robin Simmons out in Evanston. So
very good. Cam, did you say your current group is Reparations United?
That's correct.
Very good. From your vantage point, can you give us an update on where you feel the reparation struggle is right now, or are there things that we need to know that you can share with us that are happening or will be happening?
Sure. So nationally, many of national reparations activists kind of pulled away from the national movement after the Republicans took control of the House in November of last year, and really began to focus on local reparations. And I thought that was a mistake on the part of national leaders. And so I created a campaign entitled Earn the Black Vote Campaign. And the basis of the Earn the Black Vote Campaign is that at this particular time, Black voters, the Black electorate, has built a tremendous amount of power within the Democratic Party. Power that we didn't intend to build, but by voting 60 plus years straight Democrat, we are 20% of the base of Democratic voters. All other people of color are 19%, so we're more than all other people of color combined. The Democratic Party, and what they are saying, and what we've been saying since Obama was elected, is that no Democrat can be elected without the Black vote. Now they're saying it themselves. They're totally dependent on the Black vote. And since we have this power, it is our duty to leverage it at this critical time, because this power will not last for long. You talked earlier about migrants. At some point, they're going to fast track these migrants to voting. And once they do that, then we lose this power, this leverage that we have right now. And so our messaging is to President Biden that he has earned the Black vote. If he wants the Black electorate that has left him to come back, the only way he can do that is by crafting a reparations commission through executive order now, before the elections. We're not waiting until after the election. And this is something he can do. He can do it tomorrow. But we have to message that collectively and also stand on it if and when he does. So, that's pretty much what we're doing with Reparations United. We brought in some collaborative partners around the country who will help push this campaign. We've hired a communications firm. We've hired a high-powered research and marketing firm that's going to market the president and 2,300 of his people who influence him, so that he's certain to get this message that he has earned the Black vote. We understand our power, and we're going to leverage it at this particular time for National Reparations Commission.
You know, Cam, you mentioned an executive order. Talk a little bit about what that executive order is and what it would do.
So the executive order is a declaration by the president. The president can make a unilateral declaration utilizing his executive powers to do certain things. He can't make laws, but he can with his, if it's an executive order and it doesn't challenge Congress's powers. So, and one of the most famous executive orders that we're aware of that affected us as a people was the Emancipation Proclamation. Lincoln put forth this proclamation declaring that if the southern states that seceded didn't come back into the Union, lay down their arms by January 1st of 1865, then he would liberate their property. It's not something he wanted to do, and it didn't take effect. The Emancipation Proclamation, or that executive order, was written in 1863, but it didn't take effect until 1865. So the president has those type of powers. He can declare something as law, and in our case, we want him to establish a reparations commission. The commission we want him to establish is H.R. 40 Commission. 217 congresspersons in the last Congress agreed to vote yes. There was 196 co-sponsors, and another 17, 18 stated that they would vote yes as the bill came to the floor. We had 217 confirmed yes votes. We had a Senate companion bill, the first time since Reconstruction that we had a bill in the House and the Senate on this issue of redress. And we had the Senate leader as well as 10 of the 21 Senate committee chairs signed onto the bill. So we demonstrated to this president that his party has the political will to pass reparations. We've also demonstrated by all these governors, Democratic Party governors, all these mayors and council members all around the country who are establishing reparations task force commissions, subcommittees, committees, etc. So we've demonstrated without a shadow of doubt that the Democratic Party electorate around the country in Congress has the political will to push forth reparations. Now the president must act. And we're saying that's the only way he's going to get the black vote. 2.9 million black voters have decided that they're not feeling Joe Biden. If that was to remain and the election was held today, he cannot win. No Democratic president can win with 2.9 million black voters leaving the party. He needs those voters back. And we're saying the only path to victory for the Democratic Party is that he establishes reparations commission. He established it now. And so, we have the power to make that argument and to make that demand. We have to do it collectively. And thank you, brother, for having me on the show, because this is what is needed. All of our brothers and sisters in media must give us space to share with our people that we have this power and we can leverage it right now at this critical point in our history. So I pass off to you, brother. Thank you so very much.
Well, brother, thank you, and thank Brother Chris for coming on. 2020 election cycle, reparations was a heavy part of discussions in the primary. It hasn't been that. So I'm wondering, were those discussions, and this is for both of you to kind of give me your thoughts, were those discussions sincere, or were they just trying to get black folks riled up with people looking for support during the primaries? Because I haven't heard anything coming from folks about reparations. It's like it's not even talked about now from that level.
So if I could add a little bit on this part, I think that's a really good question, and I think the answer is mixed. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest with you, because so around elections, we expect sometimes politicians to do some of that not sincere stuff, but just stuff to get votes. But one thing that's very important about this generation's reparations movement, what we call the 21st century reparations movement, what's really important about this one is that it's really led by the people. It really comes from the ground up. It doesn't really come from, or it's not really led by or motivated by our elected officials. And I think that's what's so important, so special about what's going on now. And so, yes, I think there was probably some of this. It's probably some of that going on, or there was probably some of that going on last year, and we'll probably see some of it going on this year too. I wouldn't be surprised, and I think we should expect that. But keep in mind that this reparations movement is really born of the people, and so yes, politicians may seek to take advantage of it. It won't work in the long term, and probably won't work in the short term either, because this is really coming from the people.
Very good. Cam, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, so, election time, all type of promises are made, and some of them are, sincere, and politicians, have a intention of delivering. The politics just not there for them to deliver. And then in other cases, it's just a promise which they have no intention of keeping. And we saw that in the last election around reparations. Cory Booker and Kamala Harris had to speak to the issue. Joe Biden had to speak to the issue. It was, it was out there. But what we see now, and Chris is right, that things had to come from the people. At that particular time, you had Al Sharpton, who had his National Action Network convention, where he posed that question to all of the candidates who came to the convention. Well, those leaders are not posing those questions anymore.
Right.
What they're doing now, and you're going to see it, and I'm saying this because I want you to see what's happening. What they're doing now is attempting to sell black voters on Biden's history, on what he's done since he's been in office. And our people saying that's not enough. But we can't just be saying it's not enough. We have to give them an alternative. We have to give them an action that we want them to take, since it's not enough to talk about what you did in the past. And so from the ground up, we have to be saying collectively, we want you, through your executive powers, with your pen that you can sign tomorrow on the 25th of January, sign into a law, a reparations commission. He can do that. And it established H.R. 40, or established commission, to give us a report, a master plan of redress within the 2-year period. And we'll be in a position that California's in now, but we'll be there on a national level of actually delivering repair to our people in the form of those 5 areas of international law of full reparations that he mentioned. So, it's real if we make it real.
Yeah. Brother BJ and Brother James, of course, y'all can jump in this whenever you want. Go ahead, Brother James.
No, I have a million things going in my head. So, but I know we're short on time. So the commission, Brother Cam, you mentioned they will be responsible. They have the responsibilities already laid out, right? With the comeback with a plan in 2 years or so. Right? Is that correct?
Right. They have a mandate. Right.
Yeah, and you also mentioned the issue about state reparations versus federal reparations, and how that could possibly present some issues as well. Is that correct? And as I heard it.
No, I didn't. No. Okay. I don't think there's any way that state reparations. Well, there's a whole people talking about state reparations who harm federal reparations. Right. I just don't hold that position.
All right. Well, let me so in the state, the brother in Chris in California, is the 5 components, the compensation. We understand that's going to be money. Folks will get the land aspect of it, the designation of land. Is that like plots to individuals or areas for communities that similar to how the nation's program wants states allocated for us to establish a state of our own? And I'm asking, my question is that with regard to land, how is that planned in terms of your vision to be distributed to the individuals that will get land? And if you can mention, because the Native Americans, a lot of land that was taken were from our Native American brothers and sisters, and I don't think that's been considered in any of this distribution. But can you comment a little bit on that aspect, the land distribution?
Yeah, sure, and great question. And I do want to pick up on the question that you asked Brother Cam earlier too, just now, on the state versus federal. So just on the state versus federal reparations, just to say one word about that. I I agree with Cam there. I don't think there's any conflict between state reparations and federal reparations. I think actually the more the states and the local governments do, the more pressure and momentum for federal reparations there is. I've made the case that the best thing to happen to federal reparations in the last 2 years is California reparations, because we would not be, I think, as energized, as informed, as active for reparations across the country if there were not things that we could point to around the country actually happening. So I would agree there. I think the best thing to happen to what's going on at the federal level is state level reparations. I also think, by the way, that because of what California did, and I'm very interested to hear what Brother Cam thinks about this too. I think because of what California has done with producing a over 1,000-page report that's focused on California's role in slavery and the things that came after slavery and the national government too. I'm of the opinion that we actually do not need a study bill at the federal level anymore, and that actually the federal bill could just incorporate by reference what California did and then move to an actual reparations action bill at the federal level. So that's just my own personal thought. I definitely want to hear more, your thoughts on that. But to your question about the land, so the State Reparations Task Force dealt with this somewhat. They focused first, as I said, on property and on restitution for stolen and taken property, mostly by eminent domain, but also by private actors here in California also. And so the State Reparations Task Force recommended that property be returned, that the state create a repository of information with lists and research to help folks understand what property was taken and how much is owed, and in the absence of the ability to return that property, that folks be compensated for the loss of their property. But to your more specific question about how will this look going forward, we actually don't know the answer to that question yet, because that is up to largely the California Legislative Black Caucus. So we are expecting that there will be, in some of these reparations bills and some in parts of this package, we are expecting that there will be something that says the answer to your question about how the land and the property, that is either returned or paid, how that will be allotted, distributed, et cetera. So we don't have an answer to that question yet. I just want to be honest with you. We actually don't know that yet.
Okay.
Let me get in real quick, Brother James. Let's take Will has been holding for a while, and I've got a question. Let's take Will, and then we'll come back to one of the questions from the Facebook page. Let's get Will in.
Yeah, how you all doing this evening, brother?
Good, thank you, Will, for holding.
I think one of our essential problems with reparations is that we don't have unity. We've got all these different little groups around the country talking about they doing what they doing, and we forget, we act like everything is new. And I just have to say, I have to respect my ancestors, people like Callie House, who took on this fight way long ago. And so I think our job is, because each one of these bills we're talking about, nobody's there to deliver all the people reparations. What it did is open up a little vision of what could be possible. But even in California, nobody's gotten paid. Nobody of all the black people there. When you was talking about land, most black people in California didn't own land who's there presently, and so you all should have reviewed the Homestead Act and how many people came to California and received the Homestead Act, which was 160 acres. During the same time, we were supposed to get 140 acres, and a mule they got 160 acres under the Homestead Act, which just ended a couple years ago. So I think that as it relates to the Democrat and Republican Party, we need to show up at their conventions, all those who talk about reparations, and put pressure on both the political parties, because the Republicans are not giving us any support, and the Democrats are playing games with us. So at the end of the day, this has to be something that seriously, we've got a convention coming up in Milwaukee, their national convention for president. We got a convention coming up in Chicago, their national convention for president. And I'm a reparations demander. I'm just an individual in the community. I've been doing reparations now for 40 years. And it's something that we have to be consistent on a daily basis, you know. And so I just think that it's only one issue on black people's table in America, and that's reparations. And the other discussion is just a discussion of nonsense because, as you know, the SBA, they rolled it back. And when you talk about executive orders, once one president is in, another president come behind, and you can remove that executive order. So we don't need. I mean, executive orders are nice, but they're not law. And so we have to push to the point of putting so much pressure on the Democratic Republican Party that black people, we're going to start a reparations party.
Yeah.
We don't need none of y'all if that's the case.
Hey, Will, thank you. We got about 6 minutes, and I want the brothers to get a chance to answer your question. So, Brother Cam, Brother Chris, y'all want to respond?
Yeah, I want to jump on the last part of that. Yeah, I want to jump on the last part of that. So we're not waiting to the convention. If we don't have what we need before the convention, we're looking at a promise. What we're saying with Earn the Black Vote, we're saying there are no promises. You have the power to act now, and you must act now. We're not, and not only does the president have the power, Mike Johnson in the Republican Party, he has the power. He can bring the bill to the floor in the House right now if the Republicans want to do it. We're talking to those who hold the power right now, and that's the president. And on the Republican side, that's Mike Johnson. And he has to agree not to filibuster the bill if it comes to the Senate. So the Republicans can institute the commission right now, as well as the president, the Democrats. And that's the demand we have to be making. If we're saying reparations is what black people want, then black people must collectively make that demand right now, not at the convention. At the convention, it's too late. We can have a commission set way before the convention, way before the convention, and if we ensure that the Democratic Party wins,
Wait, we got something in the background. Somebody close your mic. Close your mic.
And if we ensure that if Biden was the established reparations commission, then it's up to us to go out and make sure that our people know the significance of that executive order and that he's elected, because we do not want the new incoming president to rescind the executive order the way Johnson rescinded our 40 acres and a mule after Lincoln's assassination. So these are the type of things we must educate our people on. Again, Brother Will, we have tremendous power at this particular moment. In 1956, since 1956, the Republican Party has won the majority of the white vote every election, with the exception of LBJ. If it wasn't for the black vote, you would not have had a President Kennedy, you would not have had a Jimmy Carter, you would not have had Clinton twice, you would not have had Obama twice, and you would not have Biden. That is the power that we've had, and we've had it for 60 plus years, and no one has told us that our vote is that important. I'm telling you right now that our vote is that important to the Democratic Party. And it's up to us collectively to leverage that and say we want something for that power, and that what we want is an executive order, and we want it now. And we have the power to do that. So we're not waiting until the convention.
Thank you, Cam. Brother Chris, you got about 2 minutes to weigh in. And thank you both, and we'll have to have you back again as we keep discussing this issue. Go ahead, Brother Chris.
For sure, and again, appreciate the opportunity. So I want to touch on the political part too, because not only, there's two things. First, it's not only the federal level for us too, right? So for example, here in California, we're putting the kind of pressure that Brother Cam was talking about, that he's advocating for at the federal level. We're also applying that to our state folks too, our state senators, our state assembly folks, and some of us are doing it for our city folks too, our city council members. Everyone and everyone that wants my vote, everyone everywhere that wants our vote, they must know. And what we say is no reparations, no vote. No reparations, no vote. The price of my vote is reparations. And as Brother Camp said, we want more than a promise of reparations. And this is important too. And this is that second point that I was going to make. So leverage only works if you're willing to use it, right? Mm-hmm. So what you can't do is say, I want this, I want this, I want this, and then when you don't get it, you still vote for the person anyway, right? You have to be willing to do what you said you were going to do. You have to be willing to execute on the threat in order for your leverage to be real leverage, in order for it to be what we call power, right? We're using the word leverage here, but what we're really talking about is power. So if we're talking about real power, then we have to be ready to not vote for people who don't do what we want. And we have to be courageous enough and ballsy enough and bold enough to do it, even if what we're hearing from others is, if you don't do this, if you don't vote for me, the other person is so bad, or all these other bad things will happen to you. That cannot be how we do politics anymore, where no matter what happens, no matter what we don't get, no matter what's done to us, we just vote for the same people anyway. If this is going to work, you have to be willing to do what you say you're going to do.
All right. Brother Chris, thank you. And Brother Cam, thank you for coming on. We will definitely be in touch and stay in touch with us.
I just want to tell your listeners to go to earntheblackvote.net.
Earntheblackvote.net. Brother Chris, you want to give a website?
Yes, at CJEC Official, at CJEC Official on all social media. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. And then www.cjec-official.org. Very
good. Thank you both, brothers and sisters. We got to get out of here. But again, this is Straight Words, WVON AM 1690. Give that donation. Straight Cash App, $ Straight Words. Zelle 312-480-9775. Thank you.
Great show.
Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, we are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. From the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the B-Sides with Dr. Al Greer on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 7 acknowledged wonders of the world. You are about to be entertained by the 8th, the young man who has become a legend in his own time.
It's Al Greer with the B-Sides on 1690 WVON.
We've been waiting for so long. Waiting to play for you some of our songs. We've been waiting for so long. We want to play for you some of our songs.
That's the...
Hi, everybody. It's Tommy Edwards. And now you are listening to the B-Sides with Dr. Al Greer on 1690 WVON.